Welcome to 3 on the Ones and Twos with your hosts, Tom, Cassie, and James. Just 3 old friends talking about their favorite records. Think of it as the coolest booklet for music nerds.
We are having a really special day at Casey and Allie's house. Thank you for your hospitality. We got a live audience. You might hear some screams in the background. And we've been having so much fun with this show lately. First things first, I want to give a shout out and send love to Cassie and James and Greg and everyone else behind the scenes. I broke some rules with this one because when we first started, we were like, we're talking about records. Technically, this is not a record, but it's a record that's special to all three of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Whether it's riding BMX bikes, skateboarding, it might be it's been the first or the second tape that I bought. So I've always listened to it like an album. And talk about a lot of bangers. Some. I think my brother and I used to say they were actually my Beatles growing up.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Ramones Mania. What? So like I said,
that was
Gabba Gabba, hey there, you guys. Let's pass this thing around. Talk. What an iconic cover. Well, it just has all the covers on it. And I absolutely love this record. And Tony and I don't know if you guys know, this is my oldest friend. In Atlanta, and through him, I met the Kinchelos.
It's like 1 and 2.
So because of Casey, I met Brian and Rob, Brian's brother Rob, and they really did take a chance on me. And this little bit of a career I have as a musician, I owe completely to this man. So because of meeting you, so look at us, we're doing
having a good time.
But then Tony and I, Casey and I call each other Tony. It's an old story. One day we'll include you in it. But Tony and I texted this week, and I go, man, I'm in the studio just listening to this Ramones Mania all week, whatever, and you're like, I can't believe how many bangers are on it. I go, it's the greatest hits. It should have bangers on it. But I know this. I listened to Thursday, I was having a really bad day, and I listened to I Want to Live on blast at Warner Brothers 3 times in a row where normal people walking by, and they have no idea, and I go, you're damn right I want to live.
Yeah,
exactly. Let's talk about it. About it.
So I'll mention this. I'm going to go back to the same thing I've said on this call. I had a babysitter in the late 70s.
I love this. Yeah, and yes,
Todd Render, God bless him. He's a flight attendant, I believe, now. But he was from Hermosa Beach and was into punk. So we drove around when I was a kid, and he would play. I'm literally like 4 or 5. I got exposed to this. But it was Damned, The Police, Black Flag,
incredible taste.
All this great stuff, right? But I never knew Ramones were punk back then, right?
Oh, yeah. Right.
Ramones for me were like
part
of the Sha-Na-Na, Fonzie, even Freddie Mercury doing crazy little things. It was like a motorcycle kind of.
I mean,
I did not connect Ramones were like considered part of the, even though they're proto-punk.
Bay City Rollers, Cheap Trick, just very 50s.
It wasn't until the 80s later that I understood that Ramones, the impact they had, and like, so when I was exposed to Ramones, they were like literally like a 70s rock and roll band to me.
Right.
So I didn't ever consider them as some of the. I'm very familiar with them. Back then, Todd played them, but I didn't know that they were a punk band.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the songs are so catchy.
They really are.
And Marlo, shout out to our brother Marlo Sanchez. We were talking about this the other day because we played One Night Only, Ramones covers under the name The Raymonds. With Casey, me, your buddy Dwayne,
with
and
Marlo.
And it was so awesome. But I'm here to tell you, you think they're easy. They are not easy songs to cover because the downstroking and the bass play, and then also none of it makes sense. Like to me, music I've always thought of is poetry and math, at least for me. It's like 4 on 4s or on 8s or even on something on a 6. But when you think a chorus should come in, no it doesn't. Or it just comes in randomly and you got to be like, you're screaming lobotomy.
Some of the changes like, what?
So it wasn't an easy cover band to be in.
No, not at all.
Let's break that down a little bit. There's a couple things about Ramones that are very interesting to me musically, which sounds kind of funny actually, because people. One thing is Johnny Ramone really usually plays all 6 strings with a bar chord, which is like entirely impossible to do for an entire gig.
Doing the whole,
So it gets a lot of sound, right? And it's a Maserati, so it sounds different.
That's why it sounds like a saw.
Sounds like a wall.
Yeah.
The bass really just services the chords.
That's it.
Dee Dee's thing was the backing vocals and
Well, he also wrote some of the greatest songs.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like his songwriting was his thing, right? The lyrics, right? But so you have this wall of sound, right? But I think what really hallmarks them is the vocal harmonies overall, this wall of guitar, and then it's also the changes. It's always like when they go to the tom, the tom is almost doing the work of the bass. Like it's like when they do breakdowns, or if you hear. A lot of times it sounds to me like they have the snare overdubbed, or they do hand claps, or they have there's just a lot of that that downbeat that's just reinforced in a song, which is like this driving thing, right? But I really think in the essence of the Ramones, really is the Joey's
vocals.
Vocals is really like
he's one of the best singers.
Absolutely.
To this day, and the melodies, and then also, you hear people, talk about like, because of like, they almost like this bubble gum, like an Archie comic. They look like cartoon characters, and then they fully, live it through it. Like talk about dedication.
The album covers, look like
100%, and it's so cool. So then like, on top of that, you have almost this like really young innocence to the lyrics, even if it's like I remember I've read every Ramones book there is, except Commando, the one Johnny wrote.
Right.
And I probably should read it, but I'm not a big fan of his politics.
For sure.
Okay, but I've read all of Dee Dee's books, and I've read the first Ramones book I read. It was so funny. One of the early reviews on them, they said, "They're so negative. I don't want to walk around with you. I don't want to be with you. I don't want to go down in the basement." He goes, "The first positive song was, I want to sniff some glue."
Yeah.
and it's like, but there's some beautiful innocence to that. You know what I mean? Like it really is, because as a guy who, let's just say I sniffed all my Magic Markers as a kid. It's fun to make your brain go crazy.
It is.
I think one of the interesting things to me is when I listen to Ramones, I think their biggest influence is Gary Glitter.
Oh yeah.
Because if you listen to rock and roll radio and like a lot of those songs, they are straight up Gary Glitter.
Right.
Yeah, they're Gary Glitter songs. So I think the glam, obviously the glam was a big part of their influence. But I find the most interesting influence, and I've never proven this.
Yeah.
But when they got into that mid-80s era, and they did like Mama's Boy and he's doing Ian Curtis with his vocals.
Oh yeah.
You ever notice that?
I know, not until
there was this era in like maybe it was like Atomic Boy or
Too Tough to Die.
Too Tough to Die. Yeah, a Mama's Boy, and then there was where he literally sounds just like Ian Curtis from Joy Division. Which I find very interesting.
I was listening to Subterranean Jungle.
Now, obviously,
I'm not afraid of life.
Exactly.
Something very like something very gothic to it. Yeah.
So it's almost like a tribute to Ian Curtis, like 5 years after the guy died.
You do that. I never thought of that. That's incredible.
It's really
okay.
canny.
Well, I got a question. What was I like the song sometimes, and sometimes I'm like, what was he thinking vocally when somebody put something in my drink? That's a strange vocal.
I don't want nothing, colored pig. That just stinks.
But the thing is but we're talking about these bangers, and if you've never driven around a car with your friends looking for trouble, this could be the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I know
a black Cutlass with a smash quarter panel.
Needles and Pins, early Western Motel. Me and Brand Acoustic, me playing a bucket and him playing acoustic, used to cover Needles and Pins. Bonzo Goes to Pittsburgh might be my favorite song ever.
That's my favorite.
When we first started talking about doing the Ravens thing, I was on my back porch playing songs.
I mean,
so
crying.
There's a couple things important about Bonzo Goes to
the
Pittsburgh.
melodies are beautiful.
First of all,
Beach Boys
to my mind, it's the first song that really, really meant something. Like most of their songs are pretty vapid.
It was about politics.
And this was like, Joey was a Jew. And Dee Dee lived in Germany, and his dad was a U.S. soldier, right?
Oh yeah.
So like, I think I know Joey's credited with a lot of it because he's Jewish, and it really meant something, so you can hear it.
Right.
It's the first Ramones song where like it sounds almost angry, like it means more than like all the other ones, right?
For sure.
Really listen to his voice.
It's very politically.
Anyone on here, go listen to Bonzo Goes to Bitburg and listen to how different Joey's voice is on that song. And the second thing is it meant something to Dee Dee, and that it surely pissed off Johnny Ramone. So that's even cooler, right?
So
I wish the time would go by fast. Somehow they managed to make it last.
And then the melody and the oohs and ahs.
Oh yeah.
Well, I remember my brother Scotty saying this at a young age, and he's younger than me and was cooler than me, and I just remember him saying. You know why I like the Clash? You know why I like Bad Religion? Because with my rock and roll, I like oohs and ahs. He goes, that's why I like the Ramones. And it's like perfect oohs and ahs.
Yeah. Plasmatic, Jean Beauvais produced that, right? The Plasmatics guy. So, but here's what's cool about Bonzo Goes to Bitburg too. All these bands that we kind of grew up with, going to and knowing in the 90s that credit the Ramones as their influence. The Ramones is their huge influence. But that song, think about the Queers or Screeching Weasel. Their influence is that one song.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That is the song. Like, that is literally the pop punk, the non-Descendants pop punk, which got very technical.
And the piano, the ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So the Descendants, Milo Goes College was very simple, but when they got Stephen Egerton, it got very complicated. So it was very, very like thought out pop punk.
Right.
The bands that we knew that literally just had one guitar line and were like the oohs and ahs. that is the song that like wrote the book for that.
For sure.
I mean? What I find interesting too is if you look at like liner notes, the Ramones almost always had additional guitarists. I think it was to do like the line stuff that Johnny just didn't.
Johnny
like.
didn't even play any solos.
Yeah. And then their vocalists, like the B-52s or REM or whoever, singing backing. Like they always had cool backing singers.
I was gonna say it's a little over like produced. But when the song's that good, it doesn't matter.
No.
Like we want the airwaves,
dude.
It's just like that's what you want. You head out the window.
I like the Phil Spector stuff for that reason. Like it's got a sound. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, he did. Well, that's it's. I think they didn't get the record they wanted out of that, but I got the record I wanted.
I did.
We want the airwaves.
Yeah.
Baby, we're gonna stay alive.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. No kidding. Listen to Bonzo Goes to Bitburg if you haven't listened to that in a while, and listen to Joey's voice. It is a different level than all the other stuff he did.
Right.
He sounds mad. He's literally thinking about those cemetery in Germany where the SS was buried.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's pretty crazy.
And then if you just want to get crazy, because we're big fans of crazy, blast Howling at the Moon.
No, dude,
I'm going to steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Yeah.
It's like one of the best. Because that's another really good, to me, the epitome of a good Joey vocal.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's like he's singing at his best.
And then think about this, like, there's also all kind of weird influence that's not musical too. Like, think about Animal Boy, Operation Ivy, Operation Ivy's whole
that shrill guitar,
and the whole Operation Ivy guy is the Animal Boy guy redone, like from the cover.
Brian Kinchlow is blowing my mind today with all the stuff.
And then Bad Brains got their name from. So actually, it's not on. Is it on
Bad Brains.
But that's where the Bad Brains, when they decided to change from Mind Power to Bad Brain, that was where they got it from. Because Ramones were such a big influence on them.
I did not actually know that. That's awesome.
I did know that. I did know.
That's awesome. All I know is like
it was hard to know this stuff back in the day unless you read a whole lot of music magazines.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like on the internet, it's like
everywhere.
It's like if you can go down a rabbit hole now, right?
I remember my poor mother. She brought Rock and Roll High School home on a tape for me to watch in 7th grade. I was like, I love the Ramones now. Went to Session Skateboard Catalog, bought a Ramones shirt, leather jacket, started tearing my jeans. I wear my same Ramones shirt every day for like weeks.
So now, and I know I've said this story a bunch of times, but by the way, this is like
I remember that leather jacket, dude.
So rest in peace to your dad.
Oh, yeah.
What a good
your
man.
dad ruled, man.
And so I move here and meet you, and we're jamming in your garage and literally trying to do like Bad Religion songs, Ramones songs. And your dad was this big man.
Yeah.
I remember.
Your dad reminded me of Fred Gwynn.
That's
I don't know
exactly
why. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
Well, actually,
deal.
speaking of Pet Cemetery,
Yeah.
So the funny
Did
thing
he have
is,
a real low voice?
Oh yeah.
And-
Cash.
Like literally, when I think of your dad, I think of Fred Gwynn.
and
Pet
a
Sematary.
southern accent.
Yeah.
So he comes in, he goes, you guys done making that noise like that, whatever. And we're like, oh, we're just taking a break. We're gonna do another song.
Right.
He's like, you still trying to play that band, the Raymonds?
Raymond.
So why not? Just start a cover band called the Raymonds.
How different? Like when I started listening to Ramones, I remember one time I was listening to, I guess whatever record it was, doesn't matter.
Subterranean Jungle.
Yeah, one of those. And my dad comes in, he's like, them Raymonds. He's like, why did you listen to that country music? I taught you to learn country music. I was like, what? You mean songs about like losing my dog and my truck, whatever? He's like, that's better sniffing cocaine on the choo-choo train. I was like, that's not a lyric.
Yeah.
Oh man, so
That's awesome.
absolutely, Ramones Mania was the second CD I ever bought.
Oh yeah.
I bought it at a comic book store that was on Beaufort Highway in Duluth, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
That had a CD section. First CD
I remember that. I remember that store. Yeah.
We used to skate across the street. Circle M.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So, yeah.
You're blowing my mind.
Sean Charles and Spot, me and my brother Rob. But I bought Clash Combat Rock, and then I bought the Ramones Mania. And before that, I did not have Ramones Mania on cassette. I had Ramones. I had 2 or 3 of their regular releases on cassette.
Yeah.
So CD was, and I never bought Ramones vinyl. For some reason, I never had Ramones vinyl until I was older.
Yeah, now it's
me
expensive.
too.
Now it's
It wasn't one of the ones where I had bought vinyl early, you know. Probably because it was so damn expensive.
Yeah. So we had a music store in Cumming called Wally's, which is like legendary for this punk rock music store.
Yeah, I remember.
And that
was like where OCB hung out.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And I'd go there. They had every
Kelly
weird.
Hester.
Yeah, exactly. All these weird like Ramones like demos and bootlegs and all that stuff. The guy was just had all this punk rock stuff. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, had like a big old double-sided cassette just full of Ramones.
You know, it's such a lucky thing to be part of that. Our friend Chad of the show, our friend in life, Chad Radford, was talking about this on the show, and he was like, sometimes you're not lucky enough to have a mentor or a school teacher or a gym teacher, whatever he may be. He goes, for me, it was the guy at the record store. And I walked in and he was like, turn me on to Bauhaus. And he turned me on to My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. And he goes, you like skateboarding? You know, the Ramones have a song called I'm an Outsider. You may relate, you know. And it really is. I know for me, I had someone, you know, in Queens, New York that really like taught me. And then I taught my younger brother, like, you know, this is okay to like. And the thing is from the background that we come from, Joey Ramone said it. He's got a lot of great quotes, but he's like, you know, punk rock isn't about being an asshole. It's about being kind and love, you know, and community and stuff, you know. And it's like when you love this stuff, and I always love that skateboarding goes with it. It's like, it's about community and brotherhood and sisterhood, and, and camaraderie, and you know, like the pit. If someone's down, lift them up.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean,
you know,
if you think about skateboarding, with the VHS tapes was really the mechanism. It was really the mechanism for most music. Like
for sure.
You know, Dinosaur Jr. probably would be not had their career had it not been for
100%,
skateboarding.
100% sure.
You know what I mean? John Porter, who does he still manage? What's the pub next to Little Five Points Pizza?
Porterhouse.
Porterhouse. Is he there or the next one? John Porter, when he was probably 13 or 14, he got Energy I'll Buy You when it came out right then.
Right.
And one day after school, he's like, "Can you take me home?" Right? Because I just got my license. And he was friends with us.
Yeah.
And like he played this tape, right? And I have all those kind of stories.
How have I not heard this story,
If
Brian?
you just do something kind to people, like, you know, often you like, if you engage people, and people always know how I know so many people, because I fucking talk to people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
B Kinch, this is a fact. He's never met a stranger.
Yeah, it's true. But like, I have so many stories about things I learned just because of extending like the wherewithal to say, hey, let's get together. And do something. Even if we didn't end up being long, but John's a bud of mine for life. But and you know, John's big in the skate scheme with like
But
he used to run the skate park in Atlanta and everything.
You on. But the other thing,
literally, he played that tape. You know what I mean? And that was just because I gave him a ride home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is this is like, and we love talking about this. You know, music is magic, and it really creates. If you're lucky, like lifelong friendships. I mean, that's what's our association based on? You know, it's like playing shows and celebrating life. You know?
Like you said, punk rock's the best fraternity.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it really is.
And
really
I don't know where I got that from. So I took it from somebody, and let me know who I took it from. But skateboarding and punk rock is a fraternity.
But skateboarding really drove punk and hip hop. Because of the VHS.
Without a doubt.
Like literally,
for sure.
It was like the internet
all the
before
videos,
the internet. You know, like if your song was on hip hop or punk or metal was on a skateboard video, like that was the methodology for
that's how Sonic Youth got big at first.
Even Jane's Addiction, to be honest, man. Like they were on the Bones 5, you know what I mean? Like right before they hit it big, you know.
I actually found a tape. I was looking through some old tapes and searched for Animal Shins in there. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say one more thing about like Ryan's point about those simple changes. I was a Tommy fan, and I've heard that Marky's not the easiest to get along with, but who cares? That drum beat's so simple yet so difficult.
Like you look at the changes when he goes to the tom.
Yeah, the tom or the ride.
Yeah,
and to be honest, look, the bass is
really
super
difficult.
simple. But to be honest, if you listen to Tom or the things he does in the breakdowns, they're doing the work of what like future bands like Queers or whatever would do with the bass.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the drums that are really doing those kind of interesting things on the breakdowns.
For sure, absolutely.
And it really
like Cretin Hop is a good example. I think of sitting on the tom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And just similar to riding the hi-hat, like just the birds, they go on the toms.
It's all very simple, but like
I feel like such a nerd because I know you guys know this, but just to include what's really cool about this. Welcome to the neighborhood. What's really cool about the show is shout out to my buddy Daryl Buote in Canada, who's Chai Trivedi's friend. He watches every episode and he's a big fan of us. Shout out to Chai in New York. This is what's awesome in the show. But so. A lot of times,
if he's friends with Chai, he's friends with me.
Exactly. Oh, Daryl's beautiful. So the thing is like a lot of times, what's fun about the show is like I had to listen to Steel Panther and become a fan. So we get turned on it. Sometimes we turn people onto stuff who never watched it, or maybe they listened to it 30 years ago in college or before college, and now they're revisiting it, rediscovering it. So there's these great things that some people by the way, Ramones should be a household name by now, so everyone knows them.
They're known by their T-shirt, honestly.
So basically, the name Ramone, Dee Dee took because Paul McCartney, when he went on tour, he went under the name Paul Ramone. Yeah. So that's how they came up with the name of the Ramones. And the other thing is the KKK took my baby away. Joey's basically writing about Johnny stealing his girlfriend. You know.
So I saw the very end because I went to that. Did I go with you?
Yeah, Social Distortion.
Social Distortion.
International Ballroom. I was there.
And Overwhelming Cover of the Color
Dude,
Fest.
Overwhelming Color Fest. What a great band.
Yeah.
I still remember
I have the
those riffs.
flyer. I have the full flyer.
Dude, I still know what that first song they started.
But that was
the so
end.
great.
Look, they broke up for good, or at least like that was their first. I think.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
International Ballroom. Well, the one I saw with Social Distortion was like '92. So
no, it was later than that. It was like '94.
I just met you guys.
Because we were working the parking lot the day of.
That's right.
And we didn't start working the parking lot until 94, 95.
95. Yeah.
There you go.
But that was wild. That
was toward the end because I think they broke up for a. I mean, they kept playing forever, but like their first run was to like what 95 or 96.
Well, no, I think they did Adios Amigos in '97.
Yeah, that was
they played their last show in Spain, right, or Brazil. Or
yeah. The last show here was Masquerade Music Park.
And I've seen the documentary. It just reinforces what I already knew, the End of the Century Party or whatever it was, where they basically say, they've never really had the success. They never really made any money. So they had to continue to do it. They were huge in Brazil, so they could always go to Brazil to make their number.
Joey made money because he played the stock market.
And Joey begrudgingly stayed in that band because it was his option.
Oh yeah. That's it.
There was never there was never a Joey Ramones solo record, right?
Right.
He did do it.
Yeah.
He covers Louis Armstrong, Wonderful World.
Oh, I had that. I didn't know that was officially Joey apart. Yeah,
I think that came out right before he passed, and then they put out demos and put out a second record after he passed with his brother.
So we saw Joey right before he died.
Yes, you did.
We were guests of Joe Strummer at Irving Plaza, which is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, to say
that, it was a who's who. Robert De Niro, Matt Dillon. Lint was there from Ramones.
I was gonna say, actually, the plane going over. You could say that we were on the guest list again.
Yeah, we were on the guest list for Joe Strummer. Put us on the guest list.
I love Lint.
It wasn't Tim.
And it was a who's who. So Joey's there, and he looked like terrible, right? Yeah. He looked skinnier than you know him to be, but he had a giant, kind of like a emaciated belly, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the VIP area in the Irving Plaza is upstairs. It was like an incredible effort to get him up the stairs, right? So he could be away from it. So we watched this whole thing unfold where them getting him up the stairs,
Wow.
So we didn't, to my knowledge, nobody talked to him because we did just. He looked so sick that we were like,
I said hi to him in the bathroom, but we were both holes in our situations.
Yeah, he looked terrible, man. But that's my only interaction with him, other than seeing him at the International Ballroom. Although I've seen him another time, but this is so funny. You may have this problem too, but in future generations may not really get this. But there was a time between the late 80s and the 90s where we saw shows every night.
Oh yeah. 5 nights, 6 nights a week.
So at this point, sometimes when people say, "Have you seen this band?" I'm like, I don't know whether I've seen them one time or 5 times.
Yeah, or 20
like seeing the Descendants at the Cotton Club. Oh yeah, I forgot I saw them. That was awesome. Yeah.
It's like seeing Blur at the Cotton Club.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Man. I would love to see.
Saw Henry Rollins at Cotton Club.
I could do
Mike Ness's solo stuff at Cotton Club, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But the first time I saw Ramones was the Blondies in '87. My sister took me
That's
there.
a great. Yeah. So Dee was still with him.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah.
And then I saw him with Frank Black.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, so they, the closest thing that came, like you'd think there would be this big thing. Because the thing is, Joey really did love like Bay City Rollers and Shine Not Like Pop. He actually wanted their songs to be on commercials and stuff. And he's like, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, so when Brian talks about the thing about punk, no, they're playing at a club where everyone's outcasts and punks, but they don't know what they are. They're like, we write 50s. It's like the Misfits. We write 50s doo-wop songs.
I didn't conceptualize until older that they were like this big punk thing, right?
Right.
Like I literally thought they were just like motorcycle rock. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you know what
I mean?
I got you. Yeah.
And the thing is, it becomes a term.
I had to get to 12 years old before I figured out that they were like really influential on Joe Strummer.
But, and it becomes a term. And there's a magazine or basically a zine called Punk, and him and Debbie Harry become the poster children of it or childs of it. So that's why. And then you associate that.
Yeah.
But I certainly would have thought of the Dead Boys as punk more than the Ramones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who wrote the greatest punk song of all time?
Yeah.
The Cotton Club, just quick aside, not related to Maroons.
Yeah.
That was where we were playing. I can't remember whether I was playing with you guys, with Rim Boys or Robustos, but where Nolte got involved, which we won't talk about. And I got really sick on stage, and then we got done. my aunt had come to the show,
Right.
and she came running up afterwards because the place, you know how awesome the Colton Club was.
It was
real wide.
Oh, yeah.
So there was no bad seat.
Yeah, it was
right?
wide and
no bad
great
place,
venue.
right?
Yeah.
She comes up excited to tell me how amazing it was,
Right.
right? And I just turned green and puked, like right at her shoes.
So you getting
She's never mentioned it once.
talking to the kids.
Like,
yeah,
and she's my
amazing.
mom's younger sister, so I thought for sure she'd be ribbing me at some point. To her credit, she has never once at Christmas or Thanksgiving
Right.
told my
That's
mom the
amazing.
story of me walking off stage and puking on her.
Thank you
amazing.
very much for not.
Shout out to Martha.
Yeah, shout out Aunt Martha, and also to you kids out there, the future generation.
Yeah.
Don't be vomiting on your aunts now.
Yeah.
You should not.
Just your
You
uncles.
should not.
Yeah, just your uncles.
But Cotton Club was a great venue.
It was a
Oh,
great
yeah.
venue.
Not a Guided by Voices. I saw Gore used to play there a lot, man.
So
and
bad.
if you saw Gore there, they were so close.
Oh,
like
yeah.
there was
You're getting
shower,
fake semen on you. We're just
Yeah.
shocking everyone with our language today, so I apologize.
Yeah.
Now my mom can't watch this.
Morphine played there.
Oh, man.
Right before he died. Right before he died, he played
That's
there.
one of the bands I never saw. I always loved.
Can I tell you the story?
Oh, yeah, please.
So the Robustos were playing Midtown Music,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and they were playing right before the Indigo Girls, right? And you were there.
Yeah.
And that was where I got in trouble for chunking Pabst Blue Ribbon off into the crowd. They really pissed because like I was, in their age.
Yeah.
But my wife Allie, who I love to death,
Shout out, Allie.
Allie, she got a migraine because she has a bad migraine problem.
Right.
So she's like, I really got to go, right? But Morphine was playing right across the street of the Cotton Club
Right.
as part of the Midtown Music Festival immediately after Robustos got done playing.
Oh, my God.
And so it was like one of these things. We weren't married at the time, but like I'm gonna marry this girl, you know what I mean? So it was like I gotta go with the.
You
migraine.
did the right thing.
So I never saw Morphine, which was like my favorite band.
Oh, yeah.
And he died very shortly after that.
Jeez.
And so it's kind of like an inside joke with Allie. I'm like, yeah, I never saw Morphine.
Well, yeah, I was
See
gonna say,
migraine.
the cool thing is take this from me as a.
If she has some morphine, she might not have migraine.
Yeah, exactly.
Take this from me as a good friend. Next time she pisses you off, you'll be like, "Thanks a lot. I never saw morphine."
Dude, I've done that a couple times. To be honest, it was funny a couple times, but now she really gets. She's like, I think it hurts her feelings.
She's like, shut up.
She knows how important they were for me.
Dude.
Yeah, great. Cure for pain.
Yeah.
So
The Sharks.
so the Ramones Mania.
Yeah.
Like I said, is not really a
Spoiler
record.
record.
It's not really a
Is
record.
this mine? Is this mine?
That's mine, but we
Okay,
can share it.
okay.
It's not really a record, but it's like a soundtrack to each three
Yeah,
guys.
see, here's the Op Ivy. Look.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's Animal Boy,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
Have you ever put that together?
and-
before?
that was,
I
that
never,
was
I
Pleasant
never
Dreams.
did. I never
I mean,
did.
it's straight up the Op Ivy
Yeah.
energy.
And then
yeah.
that's the punk magazine cartoon I was telling you about.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So the thing is like
Very Schoolhouse Rock,
Very-
Electric Company
Oh, yeah.
kind of vibe going on.
you know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
So
6,
the
7, 8,
thing
9, 10,
the
11,
thing is
12.
the thing is like, but it really did become like the tape play side A, play side
Yeah.
B like over and over
It
again.
became the soundtrack to lives.
Yeah.
It's a trustworthy record. You could put it
Yeah,
on at
we
a
run
half
it,
pipe
Tom.
and
We'll
just
see it.
play it, and like everyone's cool.
Yeah, and I know for me, I
Yeah.
think the year that I bought it, I don't even know what came out. I bought it in '88, I think. So it came out. Well, it doesn't say. It says.
It came out in 88 or 89 because my very first
Yeah.
CD would have been 89 or 90.
So then I got it once it came out. Then okay,
Yeah, yeah.
good deal. And
What is it? Does it say when it came out?
well, no, because it just says all the years the other albums came
I
out.
promise you this came out in
81.
88
Yeah,
or
it
89.
just sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 88.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I got it in 89.
Yeah.
It was my first, second CD, right after Combat Rock.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
See, I remember one thing. My mom let me stay home from school because Joey Rabo was going to be on Geraldo.
Not because Bob Barker's gonna. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Joey Rabo was going to be on.
So
On,
listen, shout out
Geraldo.
to your mom.
That's awesome. Shout out to Mom.
Man.
Man, yeah, this record though, man.
Yeah,
Just everything.
I'm so glad all so here's the other thing, like you know, we just basically all three the three of us
Yeah.
said, yeah, this would be a good thing to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And clearly we haven't had any empty airtime.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
look, if you want to hear Ian Curtis, Mama's Boy,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Bop to Your Drop
Yeah,
is also
Dude,
on.
yes.
Where he does, it's like dead on. You're like, wait, did they
Bop
let
to you drop?
And that's actually part of the Ramones
Yeah.
sound. Is that Joey's voice?
He's
has
the one
a
makes it
heavy
change.
New York
Oh yeah.
brogue.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of like if you didn't know Thin Lizzy was from Ireland,
right.
you'd think they were from fucking Long Island. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because there's like this.
He likes to do that play. He plays with it.
Same thing. But here he's doing this total Ian Curtis thing. Yeah. But all through their career, you can hear the New York in his voice. Totally. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a very New York thing.
By the way, we're up.
Total Ian Curtis.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Total Ian Curtis.
Where me and my brother Scotty Boy are from, Forest Hills, Queens.
That's right.
Great place to grow up. So
Cyndi Lauper, shout out to
Cyndi Lauper. We see these guys walking around, and that's one of the other cool things is when you feel like you could, you could play these songs or be like these people. I guess that's my point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So I've always been like nerdy with girls since I was a kid. I remember going to whatever show it was. Some girl was talking to me. I was just surprised some girl was talking to me, and
talk to me about.
She's talking about like somebody. She's a nurse, learning how to take blood or whatever. I was like, you like Ramones? She's like, what do you mean? He was like, phlebotomy.
Yeah.
She's like,
no. She punned it up on the guy that's the king of the
No, I said it to her.
Yeah. Oh,
phlebotomy.
You delivered on the game.
Yeah, then the other one was same day. Another girl was talking to me. I was like, oh my god, girls talk to me. And she's like, what do you do? I was like, I paint cars, whatever. She's like, oh, awesome. I'm in school for radiology. I'm like, oh, you want to be a DJ? Just left. I'm like, why are my jokes not landing? These are solid.
The song that lands the least with me on this is Pinhead. That's the one I've never really connected with. But everything else here is just like, I mean, they're all bangers. Don't get me wrong. Pinhead's good. But like, if I went down my list of the ones that like I don't connect with the most, it's probably Pinhead.
But here's an example, okay? Gimme Shop Treatment is not an easy song to cover.
No,
it makes no sense. Like you have no idea where anything is. But Beat on the Brat as well. But like, I Want to Live's a great pop song. We know I Want to Be Sedated. Sheena's a punk rocker.
I still have that Beat on the Brat
pop
Ramon
song.
shirt from what was that, 94 or whatever?
But I will say this, not only on Ramones Mania, but across the whole catalog, and they do have 25 great pop songs.
Oh yeah.
Bonzo Goes to
I think they have more.
Bonzo Goes to Bitburg is my favorite song.
It really is.
It's beautiful. It's heartwarming.
I mean, if you look at all the other songs, most of these are I can't call vapid, but they're mostly like fun pop songs.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they just, in 1985 or whatever, they drop you, or whatever year it was, maybe in 1984 or whatever. Maybe a little earlier than that. When they dropped Bonzo Goes to Bitburg, which they had to rename, right? Because it was too it's got another name if you go to Spotify now. You know
it's called Upside Down. My brain is hanging upside down. My brain is hanging upside down.
Bonzo Goes to Bitburg. Suddenly it's like, wow, these guys have got a message now. You know what I mean? It's like a whole game changer.
Yeah. Dissing Reagan, dissing Bush, and dissing everyone
kind of
going
dissing
to
Johnny at the same time.
Going to Russia and dissing racism and politics, and then also saying we're cartoons.
And I think it's attributed to Joey writing it, but everyone kind of knows that Dee Dee probably was like the kind of the force behind getting that one done. For sure. As most of these songs are Dee Dee, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is funny because. Like I said, like Dee Dee's real thing is like the songwriting. Because his the bass playing is just literally holding the bottom.
Yeah, it's basically
there's nothing. There's no bass line.
He's following Johnny basically.
There's no bass line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he like 53rd and 3rd,
it's like,
which is not
literally if Donnie
which is on there.
If Johnny had had an octave pedal on it, they would not need a bass player.
The weird thing about when we learned 53rd and 3rd, they were just tuned to each other. It's not an E. It's like an E-ish.
Yeah.
So you have like tune a little bit different.
It's like the 13th.
That's like so I'll tell you the story. I was recording a floor record.
Right.
Floor,
for sure.
Steve's old band.
Yeah, no, Betty,
great
whatever.
band.
Steve and Andrew and Jeff.
Yeah.
And then so we were recording, and the first time I ever recorded floor, they were in the studio. I was like, "Hey man, it's time to tune up, right?"
Right.
And Steve's like, "No, we just tune to each other." You know what I mean? Like so, him and Andrew are just, and I'm like, how are we going to do overdubs if there's not like
Florida, man.
We're going to start the song out with just an open E. Swing tune.
Me and Chuck Petro were just like, man, this is going to be hard. You know what I mean? But they had got their little system where they just do it by ear.
Yeah.
And then that was the first time also Steve had his guitar set to drop off the fretboard.
Yeah.
Like in Scimitar.
Yeah, he was like do it like the first string was just floppy.
It used to be I would go when I'd shop for car stereos back, and I would take the floor Scimitar in there because it would just blow up the system.
That's a good test. That's a good test.
Shout out to Steve Brooks.
That's a good test. Yeah, like anytime you want to go test a new car stereo, it's
Yep.
Well, man, shout out to the Ramones, man. All of them, including Mark, including CJ, man. I've met CJ a few times. CJ Ramone's a good dude, man. And he wrote one of my favorite songs, Strength to Endure.
Oh, dude,
which is a gorgeous song that he sings,
Absolutely.
but it came out later.
Yeah.
It was like when he joined in like the 90s, you know. But man, for a band that hated that they never really thought they had this success, they need to know they helped a lot of outsider kids all over, like believe in something. So I think that's really like,
I believe in miracles.
Or us are forming our friendships in Cassie and James, and like we just, because we all have this this mentality, and it's we believe in superheroes and doing good for the world.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Marky Ramone, his tours, he gets Greg Hetson, who's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
Greg Hetson, to play on those. Do they just do all Ramones?
Yeah,
it's all
Ramones.
the Marky Ramones?
I think it's called the Marky Ramone Band, and basically maybe Hetson plays, and then he has a young singer singing Joey's parts. And but I'm sure it's fun to see. I'd see it.
Yeah, Hetson's a good dude, man.
A weird side note. My friend Travis, his girlfriend Sam, her dad, was friends with a lot of the Ramones, and he tried out for Ramones.
Wow.
When they were switching drummers, he was going to be Chip Ramone.
Yeah.
But he decided to have a family. What a dick.
What a dick.
Sounds like the Steel Panther episode.
I'm kidding. Sam's amazing.
Well, so you know Clem Burke from Blondie played 2 shows as Elvis from.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Debbie
Elvis
Harry
Ramone.
sang backup vocals on a lot of Ramones songs.
Oh yeah.
Man, I know that my life and my world and my friendships and I just think the world is a better place because of the Ramones.
Absolutely.
So I'm giving a shout out to Ramones Mania.
Ramones.
Man, this might be my favorite episode. B Kinch and Casey, aka Tony.
Doing it.
Man, 3 on the 1s and 2s. Again, love and respect, and shout outs to Cassie and James. And we love people coming on this ride with us, man. You know.
We're about to bicycle to a hardcore show.
Yeah, we're about to jump on bicycles and go to a hardcore show.
I guess I'm amazing.
Bring your scooter.
We'll see you guys next time.
What was it? 3's on the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Gabba, hey there, Roy.
That was Dee Dee's job, right? Dee Dee's job was always to yell like.
1, 2, 3, 4. No.